It's that time of the year, Summer Games Fest time. This is my third year doing this, so, you should all know how this works. But if this is your first time here, hi, how's it going? What I do here is I'm going to go through all of the showcases in the Summer Games Fest, and I'm going to look at as many games as possible that catch my eye, and I'm going to try and predict if a game is going to be good, mid, or bad based on the trailers. At the end of every showcase, I will be giving them a grade on how well I think they did. At the end of everything, I will pick out my best and worst trailers from the entire Summer Games Fest event. I'm not going to talk about every game, but I'm going to try and cover as much as possible. No VR, probably no mobile games unless they look really good or really bad, and if the game's already out already, I'll probably skip it. Timecodes are on the screen right now if you want to jump around the video a bit. Also, if you're looking for OTK, I covered that last week in a separate video. As a wise man once said, no gameplay, no hype, those are the rules, let's do this. Sony decided to announce their State of Play last minute and figured the best time to do a State of Play was on the launch day of the Switch 2. Legit, the live stream coincided exactly with the time that JB Hi-Fi opened, which is kind of insane. Anyway, Sony started off their showcase with Lumine's Arise, which looks to be a spiritual successor to Tetris Effect Connected. I have no reason to think that this wouldn't be good. I kind of wanted just an actual sequel to Tetris Effect. Demo coming soon, I'll give it a shot. It looks to be giving the same kind of vibes as Tetris Effect, so, I'm in. I'm ready. I want to try it. Next up from Capcom, we have the return of that one game with the kid that got delayed like 2 years ago. I love that they even gave a nod to the delay announcement. That was really cute. Yeah, it looks like Space Last of Us, and it looks great. Oh my lord, what the ever-loving shit is this? It's made by Suda51. Okay, yep, sure. Nothing I saw here looked very good. I'm gonna hedge my bets and I'm gonna call it mid. Silent Hill F. The art style of this game is really great. The everything else in this game also looks really great. So we have a 2D action game called Bloodstained: The Scarlet Engagement. I wasn't feeling it with this one. Something about the combat just seemed a little meh, although the last Bloodstained game was a pretty big hit, so I don't know. I might be wrong here. Digimon are doing a Persona style game, or is this how Digimon games have always been? I don't know. The last Digimon game I played was on the PS1 when I was like 5, and my starter Digimon died, and it made me really sad, and I never played another one of these games after that. Final Fantasy Tactics, the Ivalice Chronicles, I think is how it's pronounced, I don't know, is a remaster that adds fully voiced dialogue, a new interface, but also comes with the classic version of the game, which is cool, I guess. For those who didn't read what those versions of the game come with, don't worry, because these chuckle nuts read it out word for word 10 seconds later.
When I first played it, I laughed so hard I almost barfed.
Okay bro, you don't need to brag. Baby Steps finally has a release date of September. Hopefully it comes out this time. Hirogami looks really cool. The origami aesthetics mixed with stop motion-esque kind of animation, it looks really slick. Well, not slick because slick would imply like fluid motion. This is one of the most mid-looking golf games I've ever seen, and that's including the fact that they have included my beloved Pac-Man in it. Ninja Gaiden Ragebound. Yeah, it looks great. No notes. The Angry Girl on a Mountain is back. Can is looking better every time it shows up. I think it's going to be good. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection. Is Mortal Kombat's whole marketing gimmick just replacing every word that starts with a C with a K? That is the world's ugliest looking fight stick. What the fuck? Post the price, you cowards. You know what's funny? Metal Gear Delta was on the PlayStation Showcase in 2023, and then in 2024 it was on the Xbox Showcase, and now it's back on the PlayStation Showcase in 2025. It's like shared custody of Metal Gear. Yeah, the game looks to be coming along. I think I'm fully convinced that it's going to be good. Oh, Ape Escape? What the fuck is this? Neo 3. Oh damn, this actually looks pretty sweet. Demo now available if anyone's interested. Tides of Tomorrow. Okay, this one was interesting. It's a multiplayer story game where the choices of other players can affect your story and vice versa as you go through it. I love the idea behind this, but without knowing exactly how it works, I don't want to put my eggs into it being good. I'm interested though, but I just need to know more because the implementation of this could just be like extremely lame. Pirate Persona. I guess, every fucking turn-based game is now Persona. It's what I'm calling this game. I would have loved to see more of the turn-based combat over the ship combat, which looks like it was kind of ripped straight from Pirate Yakuza. Not that that's a bad thing, it's a good game. This though, I'm intrigued but not sold yet. Okay, I had totally forgot about Sword of the Sea. It's been like 2 years. Yes, please. Inject this shit into my veins. August 19th? Alright, you got it. Amazon and IO Interactive were working to make a goddamn James Bond game. I should have known. The working title was called 007. I just thought they were being cute about it and, making a new Hitman game. Oh god, I'm such a dipshit. There looks to be only a couple of seconds of gameplay spliced into a lot of cutscenes here, so I'm gonna invoke no gameplay, no hype for this one. Alrighty, so they made a Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game without the Capcom. For some reason, it is also a 4 character per team tag fighter. 4 feels like way too many, but the gameplay actually does look super solid. And that is it for Sony. Short and sweet. This was a solid showcase from Sony, although no real big hitter reveals. Although I guess you could call Bond a pretty big reveal if it showed any gameplay. I'm feeling a solid B for this showcase. A little less of this, a little more of this. It was one Astrobot on PC announcement away from being an A though. So let's move on to the main event, shall we? Hello, Jeff. I've missed you. Have you missed me? We started off the Summer Games Fest with one of the most generic looking Souls-like, never fucking mind. Oh my god, holy Jesus. What? Okay, so this is Mortal Shell 2, and holy hell does it look good. Oh cool, Fortnite showed up. Yay. Death Stranding 2 on the beach still looks amazing. I don't know what the hell is going on, and while no gameplay, no hype should apply here, it's Death Stranding. I'm pretty sure we all know what the gameplay is going to be. Chronicles Medieval. Sonic Racing Transformed showed up to reveal everyone's favorite Sonic characters like Hatsune Miku, Ichiban Kasuga, Joker, and Steve. Look, I've just come off playing a bunch of Mario Kart World Tour, so like the gameplay of this one looks a little bit stiff, but it still looks good. You know what, the whole time watching this, I was thinking, damn, this looks like that one anime aesthetic Souls-like game, and it turns out it actually was that anime aesthetic Souls-like game. Code Vein 2 does not look like my cup of tea, and neither was the first, but I don't doubt that it's going to be a good game. Okay, so End of Abyss looked kind of neat. I've seen enough to vibe with the aesthetics and gameplay. I just kind of wanted to see that little bit more though. Mouse PI is a game I'm pretty sure I've covered before, but I think this looks like it's going to be okay. There are other games that are trying to do the Mickey Mouse, Steamboat Willie aesthetic, and this one seems to be doing it the best. I almost rolled my eyes when I saw Jon Snow. Game of Thrones is pretty much dead to me, but if you're going to make a Game of Thrones game, a good place to start is by retconning the ending of one of the worst episodes of the show, and then somehow making it worse. Oh, how I wish this was going to be anything but a goddamn RTS. So boring. Mundfish are back with, I called it, Atomic Heart 2. What's the saying? Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. Please don't fool me twice, this trailer actually ruled. They also announced an MMORPG first-person shooter called The Cube. I don't know what this is, but there are cool graphics going on here. Onimusha is back this year with a little more gameplay. It's not really enticing me, but it does look alright. I'll definitely get pushback if I say this is going to be a mid-game. Feel That Boxing looks to be a Punch-Out inspired game with Muppets, with a little bit of minigame action in between. Graphics, amazing. Gameplay, I'm not sold on. Only got small snippets here and there, but the presentation and the story is what is selling me here. They're going all in on the Muppet aesthetic. It's very slapstick and it's very funny. I think it's gonna be good. Killer Inn is just Trouble in Terrace Town. Yeah, look, nothing I saw interested me here. Ark Raiders, I have a love-hate relationship with this game. First trailer looked so cool when they revealed the game, and I loved the idea behind it. And then it changed to be a PvP extraction shooter. Like, I want this game to be good, and I think to an extent it will be. I just think a Helldivers type experience with giant robots would have been more fun. That being said, the buzz behind this game is really good, and I'm pretty sure it's going to be a decent game. Dune. Yeah, look, I'm not going to grade this one because it's out and it seems like it's pretty good, but seriously, just like fuck off with advertising paid advanced access or head starts or whatever you're going to call it for an MMO. Absolute rubbish marketing tactics. I want to know why they tried to make Chrono Odyssey look like a Souls-like action RPG when it's meant to be an MMO. Like, can you show off some of the MMO elements a bit more, maybe? Playtest in June, so I'll take a look at this one later. Out of Words is a co-op platformer game with an absolutely stunning art style. The trailer for this one was short, but it was very sweet. It's going on the wish list. LEGO Voyages is yet another co-op game, and this also looks absolutely stunning. I hope the whole game has this chill vibe that the trailer was showing off. Also, this looks like an actual LEGO game. You know, it uses building in fun, unique ways, unlike other more recent kind of, LEGO games that just use the aesthetic and nothing else. Nicktoons on the Dice of Destiny. What was this trailer? Actually, you know what? Nickelodeon, as a network that owns and runs multiple animated TV shows, you are not allowed to come into the Summer Games Fest and put up a trailer with some of the worst looking animation I've ever seen. Lies of P Overture. I know of someone of my friends that would be very excited for this. Oh damn, they shadow dropped it. Fractured Blooms. I really like how well paced this trailer was. Maybe Jeff shouldn't have spoiled that it was going to be a horror game before showing the trailer, because that reveal was actually pretty good, or would have been. So there was this giant stretch of samey looking like anime mobile games, and maybe it was the same one, I don't know. They all looked, uninteresting and same art style. Seven Deadly Sins was the only one of them worth mentioning here, only because it looked the least mid out of all of them. In fact, it actually looked good because it got a better look at a different showcase that really showed off more of the gameplay and made Seven Deadly Sins look much better. Jurassic World Evolution 3. If it's a park sim, then why isn't it called Jurassic Park Evolution? Mina the Hollower doesn't look like much, but we need to remember that Shovel Knight also didn't look like much when it was revealed. I will say the gameplay looks a lot more varied than I thought it would be. Okay, so I know I said no VR, but a Deadpool game? Is anyone seriously going to buy a MetaQuest headset to listen to the most checked out sounding Neil Patrick Harris spouting off Deadpool one-liners? Come on. I can't say that I've ever played a Dying Light game, but this one actually does look fairly decent. Woohoo! Mixtape! Where's my release date? Come on! Oh wait, they had an extended look in Day of the Devs, and there's still no release date. What the hell, man? Okay, look, I'm not going to crash out over this. Just listen to me. Beethoven and Dinosaur, any of the devs there, I hope you're listening. If any of you see this, I'm going to be in Melbourne on the first weekend of July. We can do this officially. I can come and do, an interview and do this all official like, and we can make a video, do a preview or something. Or I am more than happy to just pick up unmarked USB in an alleyway in Little Collins Street or something like that. I will tell no one, not a soul. I ain't no snitch, I just want to play your game. Axe of Blood. I could not make heads or tails of this one. It looked like a less refined version of Sifu, but the trailer was edited very well. The timing of the hits of punches and kicks with the drums in the track got me kind of pumped. Funny how a good trailer can make a bad game look good, or a bad trailer can make a good game look bad. This one made a mid game look just a little bit less mid. Okay, I did not see a new Scott Pilgrim game coming. Hells to the air. Hopefully this one doesn't get periodically delisted off digital storefronts every few years. Jeff heard me talking shit about celebrity appearances at the Game Awards and decided to make me look like an absolute hypocrite by bringing one of my favourite actors on stage. Wait, is this Hitman X Bond crossover a limited time event? Surely not. So before, when I was talking about LEGO games not being as LEGO-y anymore, this is what I kind of meant. This feels like it's using the aesthetic, but none of the other things that people actually want from LEGO. Wildgate. It's hard to tell if this game looks good or not because it's just not really something that I'm interested in. Premise doesn't grab me. I hope it does well, but I don't see it. Blighted is another game that I'm kind of struggling to put the game where I feel like it should go. On one hand, this is made by the developers of Guacamelee and Nobody Saves the World, two excellent games. On the other, this doesn't look fun. Yes, and I am counting the longer look in the Day of the Dev showcase. It's not really grabbing me, I'm sorry. Let me tell you that watching so many game trailers one after the other is making me ill. Tell you what, there is some stellar animation work going on here, so yeah, sure, why not? Mecha Break, the mecha game where things happen, and a lot of things happen. I played the demo for this one a while back and I talked about it in February. I am bumping this down to bad. I don't care if it's one of the most wishlisted games on Steam. I hated it. And I did not like the trailer they showed here either. Last flag, not even my love of disco funk can get me excited for this. Wu-Chang, called it. Sure, I think it'll be good. I'm not a Wu-Tang kind of guy, but this trailer kind of slapped. Even if it was a bit too short, I feel like. Oh no, please no more of that. My God. Into the Unwell. Maybe I should start flipping coins when I find games like these, because I really don't know what to make of them. All right, if it's heads, it's good. If it's tails, it's mid. All right, so I think we're way past the point where parody, Margo hats are funny, and well past the parodies being cringe, and past them being ironically funny, and now it's just sad. Okay, Mr. Will, if this Splitgate Battle Royale mode is anything less than, as you say, quote unquote, fucking awesome, I want you to burn that hat. If your game isn't overwhelmingly positive because of this update, I want to see that hat erupt into flames. Also, you can't come on stage, act like you're the coolest shit ever with your fucking custom-made baseball bat, walk off like you dropped the mic, and play fucking Imagine Dragons in the trailer to your game, you absolute lame asshole. RGG Studios, shit. Well, that's all you have to say. I'm in. Project Sentry now has a name. It is called Stranger Than Heaven, and it looks great. Wow, they really did do a bait and switch with the Resident Evil 9 review. Okay, cool. No gameplay, no hype, but shit. Capcom have not been missing with this franchise for a long time. It'd be silly to bet against it. And that was the end of Mr. Jeff's Fun Game Fest. I'm calling a solid B for this one. Like the SONY Showcase, not a whole lot of filler, but also not enough killer either. Moving on to Day of the Devs, the showcase that aims for quality, not quantity, as long as the games actually come out. Starting off with Snap and Grab. So what I like about Day of the Devs is it takes a deeper dive into the games and lets developers themselves explain their game, show you how it works and why they want to make it. The flip side to this is that game devs usually aren't the most charismatic bunch out there, so these can often feel a little dry. But a game like Snap and Grab is not something I would have been sold by just with a trailer alone. Once the premise was explained to me, I thought to myself, yeah, that's kind of neat, and I like that. Oh my God, I had forgotten about Big Walk. When did this last show up? Doesn't matter, this game also looks great. So you know how sometimes games get content creators to quote unquote play a game and overact for a trailer? Well, somehow the people at House made this scripted trailer feel more honest and genuine to what it feels like to play in a sandbox style co-op game. This looks absolutely fantastic. It looks like it understands what a fun co-op style experience is meant to be. Dose of Divas is another game that suits the Day of the Devs format because again, the longer look made me understand what this game was about and why I should play it and sold me on the premise. Although the food in this food-based game doesn't look very appetizing, which feels like a bit of a misfire. Possessors took zero time to establish itself as a game to look out for. Yes, I may be a bit biased because Heart Machine, demo available now. Damn, I don't have time, I've got to finish this video. The release for this game is slated for later this year, which is crazy that this will release before Hyper Light Breaker will be in 1.0. Moonlighter 2, yeah, this looks like a quality game. I never played the first, but I'm aware of its reputation. Please watch the artwork, a psychological spot the difference game. What? Using ASMR to present your game was a choice. I'm not going to say it was a good one. Marvel Cosmic Invasion was something I neglected to talk about in the main show, or was it in Sony? I forget. Because it wasn't really appealing to me. I am only talking about it here because there isn't really much else to talk about in this showcase. Look, the art style and the sprite work is great, I just do not like the look of the gameplay. We got a closer look at Neverway, or what if Stardew Valley was a psychological horror game? Yeah, this one was put on my radar from the spring Future Game Show, I think. So many showcases, so many games. And yeah, it looks like the kind of game that I thought it was going to be, so that's good. So a longer look at Ratatan did not give me the context to learn more about this game. What the fuck is going on here? This music is a legitimate nightmare. You may think I'm joking, but it has unsettled me more than pretty much every horror game that I've seen so far. I think I love it. Did this game fry my brain synapses? What's going on? Thick as Thieves is a game that I'm not sold by its premise. It's a game that seems to hinge completely on the behavior of other players. The thing that bothered me about this deep dive is that every developer talked about features in the game as if they were revolutionary.
Hear a train in the background in the distance, there's actually a train passing by in the world.
Is this meant to be a revolutionary feature? It's a video game. I hope that train makes noise. That's pretty basic environmental and sound design. Yeah, weather can change. Yay. Look, devs, I don't mean to be so harsh on your game, but this is a game that needs to be in the player's hands over you lot over explaining how supposedly great it is. Pocket Boss looked cool. Another weird little game from the guy who did Plug Play. Simplicity was the key here, and the game speaks for itself. I'm intrigued to see where it goes. This is yet another game that, again, got better over time. If Consume Me can correctly hit on the themes that it is tackling, which I think it can because it looks to come from a super personal place from the developers, then I can definitely see it being good. What the hell am I looking at? What? Okay. Yeah, I think I am really just done with Day of the Devs. Oh, look, Devolver are here. Oh yeah, they actually really are showing off one game. So yeah, it's a breakout roguelike game with base building elements. Okay, this actually looks sick, what the hell? Yeah, I want to rebuild Bolbulon, a demo available now. Yeah, look, it's a bit disappointing to only see one game from Devolver, but this one game, I don't doubt for a minute that it is going to be a winner. Look, I just thought I would fold Devolver into Day of the Dev Showcase because, yeah, it was one game. Overall, I'm feeling a C. I really did feel the length of this showcase, and the reason it isn't lower is probably because of Devolver. Look, I usually don't mind the deeper dives, but I feel like, yeah, less games would have been the go this year. Alrighty, let's move on to Wholesome Direct. This is apparently the 5th year that they have done this showcase, and that's pretty impressive. They still haven't managed to reignite the joy in my cold dead heart, but maybe 5th time's the charm. Starting off with Leaf Blower Co., or lo-fi hip-hop beats to blow leaves to. Jesus, why does this actually look so satisfying though? Story of Seasons is the first of what I'm sure is going to be many farming sims. I really liked the look of it. Oh hey, maybe don't go up to groups of children like that. Gourdlets Together is a multiplayer fishing game sequel to Gourdlets. Yeah, the first game was good. This also looks really cute. Alright, I really love this campfire shirt that they've made for this event. That's also really cute. Is this seat taken? I played this during last Steam Next Fest and I really liked it. Comes out in August and I'm looking forward to it. Okay, so has any game ever had a cute house as their mascot before? I can't say that I've ever seen that. Let's Build a Dungeon is an MMO sim game. No, it's not a sim game in an MMO. It's like, you build and run a virtual MMO. This is a very super cool idea. I like where they're going with this. So this is a game where we run a bunch of vending machines. Vending Dokkan. No, thanks. Winterboro. I feel like I've seen this game before, but I don't think I've talked about it before. I mean, it looked good enough to mention this time around, so there's that. Tales of the Shire. Once upon a time, I would have put this in good tier, but the game has been delayed quite a bit, and now my skepticism has kind of risen, and I don't feel like it's going to be good. I talked about Haunted Paws last year. Something looked off to me about it then. It looks slightly better now, but I'm still not sold on it. Everdeep Aurora is a game about a cat with a drill, and despite me not usually liking when games do the very super retro and 2-tone or 3-tone color schemes, I think it actually works very well for this game. Color me interested. Yes, my favorite wholesome activity, hanging out in cemeteries. Gecko Gods, an adventure game where you play as a tiny gecko. Sometimes it's the most simple premises that, can grab you the most. Okay, here's my time to rectify a mistake I made last year. Yeah, the animation in the trailer is amazing, and it doesn't quite match the gameplay. Hotel Galactic's gameplay this time around did look much better, and I think people are going to like this game, so I'm going from bad to good. I still don't want to play a game that mimics my real job too much. I'm sorry, Discounty. Collector's Cove was not grabbing me at all until I saw the boat is on the back of this giant turtle dinosaur thing that you can cuddle. Of all the food-based games in this showcase, Kilo Niku Bowl Up is the one to actually make the food most appealing. Which is a double-edged sword because I don't want to play a game that makes me hungry all the time. Llama Landia. See, these are the kinds of animals that should be in games more often. Less frog and cat games, more llama games. Look at this shit, it's cute as hell. Muri Wildwoods has a brilliant art style. I just hope that there is more to do than spray a hose at things. I can't say that I've ever seen a cute tornado before. What the hell? Okay, that is it for Wholesome Games, and you know what? This was a massive improvement over the last few years. I don't know how many games were in the showcase, but I felt like it was a lot less. If I had to hazard a guess, I think it was closer to 55 or 60 this time around rather than the 70 or 80 that this showcase usually does. And maybe because it was also the first showcase that I watched that day, but this felt good to watch. I'm going to give this showcase a B as well. Where this showcase could improve, well, before most games, there was a slew of cozy content creators pretty much advertising themselves before each game, which I think we needed a lot less of. I don't blame these creators for showing up. I mean, like, you have to take every chance you can get to put yourself out there as a creator. I understand that. But they would all almost say the exact same thing. You know, hey, I'm such and such, and in our cozy community, we like to play cozy games and hang out. Again, nothing against these creators. We need more people out there that are spreading positivity out there, unlike me, who's a gremlin that gets mad at game trailers. I just think Wholesome Direct needs to streamline the experience just that little bit more, and then we will be perfect. I think the amount of games feels just about right. Look, I'm feeling a bit too relaxed and chilled out, so let's look into all of the horrors, uncertainty that the future holds. Alright, so this year the Future Games Summer Showcase is hosted by Laura Bailey and Matt Mercer. Definitely a choice to introduce yourself as the voice of Majima. Look, you are a good VA for Majima, but you're not the definitive voice for him. Wow, we really are in the future. This is a new game based on The Expanse. Unlike the Telltale one a couple of years back, this one actually looks worth playing. Is it kind of weird that the game Echoes of the End reminds me the most of is like the Jedi Survivor series of games? When I go for a walk through the woods, I always like to have the words pre-alpha gameplay just permanently ingrained in my vision. Otherwise, it isn't immersive enough. This was the only quote-unquote gameplay that Whispers in the Fog showed. No thanks. Alright, so I pretty much skip any game shown that is just an update to a game because it's hard to kind of gauge how updates actually land with audiences reception-wise. But I do want to talk about the finals because their trailers are just so well edited. It's criminal how good these trailers are. Hurdling looks like a game that should have been in the Wholesome Direct, and something tells me there is a reason it wasn't. God damn, does this game look absolutely gorgeous though. Sleep Awake, is this a game or a walking sim? I don't mind if it is or it isn't, I just like to know what it is you do so I can base my judgment on if I think it's going to be good or not. If it's a game, then I'm not seeing much gameplay here. If it's a walking sim, then it's probably looking like it's going to be a bit better. Eric Scholm, we got a bit more of a deep dive on this one. I was already sold from last year, so yeah, I reckon I'll check this one out when it comes out in July. So when I look at this game, I do not see the inspiration from the Stalker series. Oh wait, I think I'm kind of seeing it now. The Explorator, you know what, I think I'm kind of vibing with this one. Hey, is this that Hollow Knight Silksong game that people have been looking for? No? I mean, if you squint enough, then you might be able to pretend that it's Silksong. The tagline that they used for this trailer is that, quote unquote, it is like capture the flag on crack. A line that they thought was so good that they said it 3 times. Twice here and then once more for good measure during the PC gaming show. I almost threw this in bad tier just because of that. And I still might. Yeah, okay, so I'm not saying the full name of this game. It's a roguelike tactics game. It doesn't look like much, but I just have this feeling that it's actually going to be pretty decent. Oh no, they're doing the thing. They're doing the quote-unquote real players playing the game thing. Stop it. Do better. Fantastical Bureau. Oh, goddamn, why are these game titles just so long? Interesting premise, but the trailer for the game doesn't really show that it can really live up to or really capitalize on all of the things that you could do with this idea. Waifu Tactical Force looks like absolute dog water. The fact that this trailer spends more time showing off 3 of its very blandly designed characters over showing actual gameplay is a major red flag. And the gameplay shown is in quick cuts that feels designed not to show us the full picture. No. Ahoy! No gameplay, no hype. Kickstarter, no thank you. Flickshot Rogues has a relatively unique gameplay mechanic that's just intriguing enough for me to give it a pass. Ascend to Zero, I can't tell with this one. I like that the combat looks fluid and fast, but there is a lot of screen clutter. I'm just going to flip a coin for this one again. Worship is a cult sim game inspired by Pikmin. That's an elevator pitch I can get behind. It's something that you hear and then you kind of think, yeah, that works. Deathground. It's nice to get a better look at this game, and by better look I mean a deeper dive into what's actually in the game, but not actually how it plays, which is the one thing I really wanted to know about. Fading Echo is a game where you play as a slime girl. It looks to have a bunch of environmental and elemental puzzles that also weaves its way into combat. For pre-alpha footage, this looks pretty great. Could have done without the extremely dry preamble introduction by the voice actors though. Okay, so we got another look at one of my best in shows from last year with Sacrifice. I think this is the first time we're seeing gameplay, and yeah, somehow I am more sold in this game than I was before. Directive 8020, I would say no gameplay, no hype, but this is a Dark Pictures game and they're basically interactive movies. The fact that they are highlighting that you can now go back and rewind the story to pivotal moments is a feature that people have been asking for in their games for years. I don't know why they've decided to call the feature quote-unquote turning points, like a narrative map hasn't been a thing in visual novels for like probably 20 years now. Hella, you know, I think I might have a soft spot for co-op games. I'm kind of glad that throughout the entire Summer Games Fest there has been a lot more of these than usual. This doesn't look fantastic, but it does look just good enough that I would float the ideas to my friends to see if they wanted to play it. Oh Jesus, Ratatan's back. Oh, leave me alone. Okay, I guess I'll talk about Mafia because I skipped over it earlier because this is the showcase that actually did show gameplay. I've never played the Mafia games. From what I've picked up about these games via, you know, cultural osmosis is that they tend to have a good story, but kind of sucky gameplay. The gameplay I've seen in this trailer looks alright. It doesn't look AAA title price gameplay, but the story cutscene that they showed was pretty stellar. I think I've been won over on this game. The other day, a friend of mine told me about this thing called demand avoidance, which is where you have your mind set on a task, but someone tells you to do the thing that you were already going to do, and then you lose interest in doing that thing. But yeah, it was kind of like that with this game. Tenet of the Spark is another game with a killer premise, but when the developers themselves started hyping up the game, that's when I started to lose interest a bit. Chrysol, a first-person shooter where you use blood as ammunition for your guns. Which I think the premise of this game is just an excuse for the animators to make some of the most gnarliest reload animations ever put into gaming. And I love that kind of creativity. That's really cool. All right, one more game and it's nothing. This is a game called Ritual Tides, but there was no gameplay, so no hype. And it doesn't even have a Steam page yet. And the Steam page button on their website links nowhere. Why should I get hyped for this? Also, why did the Future Game Show end their showcase on a nothing reveal again? This is like Untitled Frog Games Studio all over again. Future Game Show, I'm feeling another solid B for this showcase as well. I enjoyed the Future Game Show quite a bit. I think the spread of games was pretty decent. Nothing really dragged except maybe the closer look segments, which most of the games there I wasn't really interested in. Also a few duds in there like that waifu action game. The quality is very consistent with what I've come to expect from Future Games Showcase. Just please get yourself an extra person with a bullshit detector to screen the game trailers and just end your showcase off on a banger for once and not a whimper. Alright, so Frosty Games is a showcase consisting of games made in Australia and New Zealand. I'm guessing it's called Frosty because it's in the middle of winter here, which I feel like I don't really want to be reminded of as the nights dip into the negative degrees of weather. And I have to spend like 5 minutes every morning defrosting my car. If you watch this full showcase for yourself, which obviously I'm a bit biased when I say that you should, if you see a Screen Australia logo on any of the games, it means that it was somewhat funded or received grants from our government to make. My Arms Are Longer Now is a game about doing heists with extremely long arms. This is probably the most Aussie game that possibly started this showcase with. I instantly love it. Letters to Aralla is a game about being a more reliable postage service than Australia Post. Actually, maybe it might be a realistic depiction of what Australia Post does to our packages. Funded by the Australian government, by the way. Toroa Skycall is a seagull game. I'm hesitantly putting this game into good. I liked what I saw, I just don't know if it was enough to make me want to play it or not. We have not seen enough adventure platformers this year, which makes me a bit sad. And it makes me even sadder to think that this game might be mid. The platforming looks great, but the combat looked a little jank, and the camera movement of all things just didn't feel right. Bones Wandering Soul is what I would call too early to show. Null Star Solus. Oh, made in Tasmania. Well then shit, it has to be good then. We only export the best of the best talents from Tasmania. Ricky Ponting, Ariane Titmus, the actress that played Jessica Jones' sister, David Foster, and myself. See, all winners. Nothing but the best comes from Tassie. So, you know, this game has a lot riding on it. You better deliver or you are going the way of chicken feed. See, that's a hyper-specific Tasmanian reference that almost nobody watching this is going to understand. I mean, I can get more specific, but I think I'll leave those for another day. So the entire sound design for this trailer was just the sound of someone microwaving a meal, which if it didn't have that, I probably would have skipped about talking about it entirely. This kind of sounds eerily similar to my old microwave. Alright, so this one kind of made me a bit mad. Not for any sane or normal reason. I could have picked that this was an Aussie game just by the premise alone. But the game is called Brave Cart. You're in Australia. It's called a trolley, mate. I get the pun, it's a good game title, but it's a game about a trolley smashing the supermarket duopoly of Coles and Woolies. Like, lean into the Aussie. Surely we can find a different movie name to pun off of, like for a game title. Okay, so I spent more time than I'm willing to admit to trying to find a suitable replacement, and the best I could do was Melon Trolley, which is a play of melancholy, which I'll admit isn't good. So if anyone has any alternatives, please put them in the comments. This game needs it. Anti-Citizen Red. No gameplay, no hype, but a well-edited trailer is really making me want to break this rule. Rule number 1, never ask where the meat in your food from food truck kebabs is from. This kid should know better. Game made by Queenslanders? Ugh, into the trash it goes. I'm kidding, of course. This is one of the most creative looking art styles for a game that I've ever seen that's only used 2 colors. Or mostly 2 colors anyway. Reprieve nails the vibes, but I can't really tell you what this game is about because I couldn't tell. I actually looked this one up and the premise is very bleak. I'll read it word for word from an itch.io page. Lose yourself with Milo, an office-bound Grim Reaper with a simple job. Delete Soul's desires to make their passing as efficient as possible. The faster he meets his quotas, the longer his break will be. Rinse and repeat. Wow. Thanks. I hate it. Why wasn't I invited on this showcase to introduce games? I mean, I know that if I was on it and eventually ended up covering it, I would be biased. But it's a majority Aussie showcase anyway. I'm already biased. Okay, so as many of you know, Winnie the Pooh is now in public domain. So that means games where you play as a parasite living inside and making Winnie the Pooh into an eldritch monster are allowed to exist now. Winnie's Hole. I wish I recorded my initial reaction to finding out this game's name. 10 out of 10. Thanks for ruining my childhood. Funded by the Australian government. Isopod. So I played this game during Steam Next Fest in February and I thought it was pretty good. It's a physics-based platformer game that has some very fun physics to play around with. I don't know if the demo is still available, but if it is, I think it is worth giving a shot. Soggy Beans is hands down the best name for a game. I don't even care what it is. Okay, so for this next game, we have an Australian content creator from Melbourne introducing the game from, as they call it, quote unquote, Australia's sporting capital, which is technically correct for almost any sport except for the one that they're about to show off. Rugby is very much a New South Wales and Queensland sport, and more predominantly a New Zealand sport. Look, this game doesn't look great, and no, I'm not saying that because I'm an AFL fan who also goes for a Victorian team. Hashtag Vic Bias. Burger Boys is yet another killer title for a video game. Doggy Don't Care is one of those mischievous sandbox style games, and by the looks of it, it looks okay. It just feels like it needs a bit more sandbox mayhem shown off. End of Ember looks like it may get a cease and desist letter before it makes release. Have you ever wanted to play Tetris but wish you couldn't see what you were doing? Well, welcome to Jupiter Junkworks, where the trailer makes this game that's probably pretty decent look kinda ass. Spring just looks so simple yet so satisfying to play. I'm in. Innkeep is a game about being an innkeeper at a medieval fantasy pub that has some very interesting things going on. Look, as long as there is a point where I can just go postal on all of these adventurers that are being arseholes, then I'm in. Enter the Chronosphere is a game that I'm still excited about, although I thought it would have been released by now. To end off the Frosty Games showcase, we have Parasensor. He takes inspiration from classic horror such as Resident Evil. I liked the trailer, but the game itself seems to be a bit of an unknown. The atmosphere is there though, so maybe it'll be good. And that is Frosty Games Fest. And you know what? I'll give this showcase a grade of S+, baby. Best showcase of the year, every year for the rest of time. Put me in it next time and I'll find a way to give it a better score. All right, if I take out all objectivity, I think I'll give this a B-. I was originally going to put this at a C+, but you know what? I enjoyed myself more in this than I did in like Day of the Devs. Screw objectivity. It is my video after all. I find it really hard to give this showcase a score because even my cold, dead, cynical heart can't fend off how absolutely proud I am to see people that I share my homeland with make games and express themselves in such creative ways. You know, these games are extremely indie. Even with government grants, they are all almost certainly made on shoestring budgets and some of them are just extremely niche. I think if I can find ways to improve this showcase, it would be to try and get some better games on the showcase. Oh, and rename it to ANZ Mates. Like, come on, you even said it during the showcase, it was right there. Oh wait, I forgot about the name of the bank. That's called ANZ. Surely you could still get away with it though. Alright, what should we take a look at next? How about something a little bit more green? Green Games is another new showcase that for some reason wasn't a showcase celebrating my favorite color, and more a showcase of games inspiring positive real world change. Well, that's what they claim to be. Well, this better be good or I'm going to stop recycling. The planet's future is in your hands. Starting with a game that's already out, so we're just gonna skip that. Whoop, this game has AI animation. What the fuck is this? Oh cool, it's Web3.
So interesting, it reminded me of, Dominion, Ascension, I guess Hearthstone, Balatro.
Alright, there is no fucking way that this presenter compared this game to Balatro. Oh cool, here's some of the most bland as fuck mobile rubbish to ever grace my PC screen. Okay, finally, we have a real looking game here. Finally, I was about to start tearing my hair out. It looks extremely mid, but so far in the games that I've seen in the showcase, it might as well be Shawshank Redemption. Hawthorne is a game I previewed in one of the other showcases earlier in the year and I said it looked really bad. Despite it looking better here, the fact that it is in this showcase is kind of telling of the quality of this game. Next up, we have a Roblox game. Are you taking the piss? Alright, fuck this. Normally with showcases, I watch the entire thing through. No skipping, I watch the entire thing. Even when I am extremely frustrated, like say, the Wholesome Games showcase last year. I watched them. I'm mad at this showcase. I was going to wait until the end to put this shit on blast, but I couldn't do it. It took these bozos 12 minutes to kill my spirit. I'm so fucking done with this shit. Let's start with the set. It looks nice, right? Where are the video games? Gamer cred is not a real thing, but it's so strange that in a set for a gaming showcase, there is not one hint of anything game related in the entire set. Like, do you two human beings play video games? Is that script in front of you AI generated? Or did you write it yourself? Who's behind the camera? Who made this showcase? These are questions I don't normally ask because even when the games or even the showcases aren't great, I can see some effort behind them. Please take me back to Future of Play from last year. Take me back to the Ubisoft E3 days. Like, I can't take much more of this. What does Duolingo for your activism even mean? This is absolutely abysmal, really. No, really, like what even? David Hasselhoff, even in his prime, never looked a thing like this. Oh, cool, a trailer that sounds like it's voiced by AI. Yep, wow. Oh man, there's nothing more Green Planet Save the World than a game with a heavy military industrial complex themes. Cool. Military, fuck yeah, save the planet. One of the hosts described this game as a Rocket League Mad Max mashup demolition derby. Do you see that? Alright, I can't in good conscience let this continue. I'm cutting this off early. I don't know what score I can give this showcase. F-. Is there something less can possibly give this? I cannot recommend you watch this showcase in any capacity. I cannot believe that this was listed as an official partner of the Summer Games Fest showcase lineup and the Future Game Showcase wasn't. Just for context, both this showcase and the Future Game Show were slated for streaming at the same time. And as you can see, one of them wasn't an official partner. And it is fucking savage that the Future Game Show got shafted for this. This. Fuck this and fuck whoever was involved with this bullshit. Jeff Keighley, I'm gonna need answers for this one. Alright, I'm pissed off. Let's see if the Women-Led Games Showcase can bring us back from the brink. Starting off with Will Follow the Light. I feel like I've seen this one before. Definitely looks like a walking sim with some dog sledding sim mixed in between. Perfect Tides Station to Station is a late teenager burnout simulator, maybe. Long Story 2. Look, if a game is able to get a sequel, that must mean people liked the first one, right? This trailer was absolutely awful. I can't say that I know the way to make a visual novel look appealing, but I know this ain't it. Nano Neighbors, a social MMO for people with ADHD. I remember the days when apps that sat on your desktop like this were just viruses. Crescent County, the broomstick motorbike game that took out a Best in Show slot last year for me. It's weird that a lot of the footage here was directly from last year's trailer. If there wasn't a playable demo at some point, then like kind of red flags would be rising here. Drywall Eating Simulator. Yeah, this is my kind of simulator game. Fuck yeah. Wait, how are we getting yet another chat room bottom of your screen app game thing? Like, this does look a little less bottom of your screen sometimes, but it's still another one of those apps. That's kind of weird, right? Isla, a Frosty guide, seems to be coming along nicely. Cappy Castaway, looks like a really cute game. Lily's World XD, a game where you're put into the computer of a 14-year-old girl. Feels like I might get put on a list for playing it. I am starting to hit the point where there are games that I feel like I've seen before but don't remember. Void Martyrs is a game that I feel like I've seen before, but I'm like 60% sure that I haven't. But I've seen so many games kind of like that. Downhill is a game that is convincing me to try it with everything except the gameplay. I'm just not seeing the appeal here. Voyages of Nera is an early access co-op survival crafting experience, which doesn't look great, but I'm kind of yearning for the days when this was like the current fad in gaming and we see like 50 of these every year. You know, it was a simpler time. Last game from Women-Led Games is Wonder Stars, a game I did put in the bad tier last year. I'm updating it to mid. I'm pretty sure I was too harsh on it, and maybe I am still being a bit too harsh on it, but baby steps. I'm going to be real with you here. I did not talk about a lot of games in this showcase. Quite a few games were featured in other showcases, which I already talked about, and there were a lot of games that just kind of put me in a fugue state while watching it, which is better than anger, I guess. Women-Led Games, I'm giving a D+. I do think this was a noticeable downgrade from last year, and it mostly comes from the overall quality of the games. I feel like I'm repeating myself, but shorter, more refined showcases is the way to go. This is on the shorter compared to the rest of the showcases, but it still felt long. Alrighty, we have 4 showcases to go. I think it's time to bring out a heavy hitter to kick momentum back into gear. Xbox started off their showcase with some warning that this presentation is for big boys only, no kids allowed. Outer Worlds 2, or Capitalist Nightmare Space Fallout, is looking like it's coming along nicely. It is Xbox's flagship product for this year, and I hope Xbox have learned from previous years and actually checked to make sure that the game is good before heavily marketing it. High on Life 2? Okay. Is he still going to be involved in it? I didn't really like the first game, so I'm feeling mid on this one. Resonance, a Plague Tale Legacy, which means spin-off, I guess. No gameplay, no hype.
So what's next?
Lay off thousands of your staff after they deliver you successful games. Blood of the Dawnwalker, a vampire action game. Honestly, I really liked everything that they were showing here. The story and the voiceover just kind of seemed painfully generic. Also, there were some major frame rate problems in the trailer, in the showcase. I don't know why. 3D Meat Boy? Oh my god, this actually looks sick. Unlike the 2-button control game that feels like it was made for mobile that they released a few years back, this actually looks like a worthwhile sequel to play. Yeah, Ninja Gaiden 4 looks so good. I don't even know what else to say. The gameplay in the trailer speaks for itself. What in tarnation is a Beast of Reincarnation? I mean, it looks good, I just don't know what it is and what's going on. It's nice to see Game Freak let out of the Nintendo dungeon and actually doing something new for once.
Keep your filthy pickers off me!
Okay, so Clockwork Revolution showed up about 2 years ago, I think, with a trailer that showed off not much. But this time they actually really showed off what they've got, and I am sold. This was an absolute standout trailer. Funny, creative, just looks like a lot of fun. How the hell does Obsidian have a 3rd game slated to launch this year? How are you guys doing this? How much cocaine? Actually, scratch that, I don't want to know. You launch Grounded 2, and if you make it good, I'm looking the other way, I don't care. The new game from Bloober Team, the people behind the Silent Hill 2 remake, finally has a closer look, because last time they showed it, they showed like 2 seconds of gameplay footage. Yeah, it looks pretty gnarly. I'm hoping it's good. I think using M83 as music in your trailers is cheating, because their music just delivers instant atmospheric gold. It's really just unfair. It's cheating. It's 100% cheating. There are no ghosts at the Grand, but yeah, maybe there's portals to other dimensions that contain monsters and people spontaneously breaking into music numbers. Mudang Two Hearts looks interesting. From an art style and story perspective, this is looking really cool. A lot of the gameplay was very quick cut, but I think I'm still going to lean on good for this one. Is it just me, or are Xbox actually really cooking with this showcase? Surely all of these games can't be good, right? Also, how have I never heard of this first game? Okay, yep, no, never mind, they ruined it. What the ever-loving shit is this? It just looks like Power World on meth, and Power World was Pokemon on meth. Does anyone really think that the Tony Hawk Pro Skater 3 and 4 remake is going to be bad? Cowabunga, dude. I don't know about you guys, but I think this should have been Master Chief grinding rails over Doom Guy. I don't know, it just makes more sense in my head that Master Chief would pick up a skateboard first over Doom Guy. Hey, Xbox, can you stop making all of your games look so good? I'm trying to be mad at you, but mostly all of these games just look fantastic. Gears 1 Remaster. Say less, fam. I heard the rumors, but for some reason I didn't think it was going to be true. The Persona 4 remake, not much shown, but there's no way that Atlas screwed this up. And I think they're reaching the bottom of the barrel before they finally make Persona 6. Okay, Invincible is getting its own tag fighter. Look, take my opinions with a grain of salt. My track record with fighters isn't the best, but the gameplay in this one looked fairly generic. If you asked me what game Double Fine was making next, I never would have guessed it would be a game about a walking lighthouse, but I'm not surprised that's what they decided to make though. The last game we have to see from Xbox is a trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops 7. For the longest time, I could not pick what this game was supposed to be. I was so intrigued, and then I was treated to the worst bait and switch of all time. That's it for Xbox, and you know what? That was actually a pretty killer showcase. Something I didn't really talk about is how good the actual trailers were. Like, not how good the games looked, but the trailers themselves. Mostly all of them were edited very well. They were short and sweet. The showcase itself was paced extremely well. This is what I've been looking for all weekend. As much as I kind of detest the business practices of Xbox over the past couple of years, this showcase rocked. And I think a lot of my best in shows will probably be in here. 3 showcases to go, let's move on. The Latin American Showcase. This showcase started off with a game we already covered, so we will start with the second game, which is already out. Okay, skipping ahead. Castlebound, the art and presentation on this one is on point. I love it, but the gameplay looks like it is entirely a defense game, which I do not want to play. LAN Party Adventures. I initially thought this was going to be a simulator game about setting up LAN parties, but it's actually a horror game about LAN parties. I mean, LAN parties can also be a bit of a horror show, because there's always one person who can't connect to everyone else, or their PC dies and you have to take apart the PC and troubleshoot things for like 3 hours before everyone can actually play together. Tico is a tower defense platforming game. I generally don't like tower defense games, but if I were going to play one, it'd probably be this one. I cannot understate how underwhelming Lurks Within Walls looked. It is a turn-based horror game that, apart from the okay designed monsters, looked extremely bland. I have no idea what this guy is saying, but his enthusiasm is really infectious, but it's also not strong enough to get me on board with this game. But hey, I'm rooting for you, guy. Also, I really liked the final one shot in this trailer. I thought it was pretty cool. Codebreaker looks pretty up my alley. Why does this little girl look like she's 20 years old? Apparently the first game has a decently positive reception on Steam. That's not enough to make me put this anything other than bad. I do not like the look of this. This little platforming game looked very cute until there was a point where the frame rate of the video dropped into the single digits. I'm still going to give it a pass though. We now have our third bottom of the screen game of the year. Why? Where are these games coming from? Teo's Journey looks to be a pretty classic 2D action platformer, but it's the art style that's really bringing it above a lot of the other games here. Colorbound is a puzzle platformer that uses colors as its main gameplay mechanic. Another so simple yet very appealing looking game. Gunny Ascend is a Tetris-looking roguelike that looks like a lot of fun. I mean, you say Tetris to me and I'm interested. Man, I miss when Windows used to have the chronologue option. Desktop Explorer is a puzzle game that takes place inside of an old computer operating system. It actually looks pretty great. Avante Atlantis looks like a really cool turn-based strategy game. The presentation of the game is what's selling me. It looks super slick and it just looks interesting. Welcome back, Bogdan's Cross. Yeah, this looks much better than last year. A faith and doubt system is not something that I knew about before, but again, makes the game look much more interesting. I don't know if I had this one as mid or good last time. I'm bumping it to good though. This game is a puzzle game about the trolley problem. It is called The Trolley Solution, which is just chef's kiss, 10 out of 10 title. Bubblegum Galaxy is another holdover from last year. I don't remember again where I put this game last time, but I'm vibing with it this year. Okay, so look, normally I would put a game like this in probably bad tier because yeah, but I actually have a history with the first game. Why did it take 11 years to make a sequel to a pretty basic asymmetrical horror game? I don't know, but I know that a few of my friends will be very excited for this release. Don't Kill Rumble is what I would call not very good looking, mostly because the camera was never aimed properly, or it was blurry, or the graphics were taking up way too much of the screen to see anything. Man, what a shit trailer. Okay, so there was this game called Piss Off, which is a party game where you play as these little gremlin things that piss on each other. I'm not going to show it here because the monsters actually hang dong, so if you want to go and look at it on your own time, that's on you. To end off the showcase, we have Isla, a game about a haunted VR game or something. I kind of liked it. Why not? And this is it for the Latin America showcase. I actually didn't mind the showcase for the most part, but there were some major problems. I'm definitely repeating myself, but please just streamline the games just a little bit more. For the most part, I really loved the presentation of the showcase. I liked the little interludes between the games that felt like it was celebrating the culture. It's much better than, pick X streamer or content creator to advertise themselves. But there were a few segments in the show dedicated to games that had already released, which is fine. But the announcer for these segments was extremely annoying. Here, I'm just going to play a clip for you.
From the creators of Pixel Pulps comes Grizzly Man.
Now imagine that, but done 20 times.
None of the Rift. Pause, plan, and strike to the beat in this slick, real-time roguelite.
The delivery was almost the exact same in every game he presented, and I died a little inside. I'm giving the Latin America showcase a C+. Moving on to Southeast Asia. This is, I believe, the first time we've seen this showcase, so let's see what they have. In the pre-show, we got a look at Tanuki Pond's Summer, which looks fun, I think. There were parts of the game that looked a little rough. Demon School looked kind of baller. I am really a sucker for good sprite work, and the atmosphere looked pretty on point here. Monsters Are Coming. Rock'n Road is what looks to be a mix between a Vamp Survivors clone and a tower defense game. I wasn't convinced at first, but the longer this went on, the more I kind of got into it. Coffee Talk Tokyo. These games get a pretty good rep. I reckon this one is going to be good. Why bet against a winning streak unless you're like me and have a 40-something% prediction rate? Uh-oh. Montabi is a creature collector roguelike with a card-based battle system. This game by all means should be up my alley, but I can't for the life of me pick out why I'm not gelling with it. I Need Space, a fantastic name for a game like this. I loved the music in the trailer. The atmosphere was on point. Swap this space cat for a dog, it's a done deal. This duck game looked kinda cute even though the music in the game sounded cursed as fuck. Table Flip Simulator looks also just cursed as fuck in general.
Are you ready for MJ's Flamin' Hot Tunes from the pits of Heyo?
Jesus, this is how you want to start your trailer for a game about making donuts? I mean, the donuts do look delicious, but start with that? I don't care about the people in the game before I've seen the game. Until Then is a game that is already out, so no score, but the trailer for this was so good. One of the best of the showcase. Game is on my wishlist now. No, are you for real? How is there another one of these games? What the fuck? Set up a culinary adventure. Looks to be mixing a bit of farming sim with an action RPG with a bit of Overcooked. Interesting. Boomer shooters. Can you really go wrong with these? I mean, maybe you can, but I don't think it's going to be this one. Building Relationships, another game holdover from last year. It's the dating house game. I really wanted a release date for this, but oh well, a demo will have to do. Nightmare Circus is a game that looks good despite its trailer. The whole thing was narrated by I want to say Morgan Freeman sound-alike, but with much less charisma. The gameplay looks good, but the trailer was presented in one of the most boring ways imaginable. Lucky, the gameplay for this one can speak for itself, and it looks good. Maybe I'm skipping over them, but unless you count OTK, there have not been a lot of Survivors clones in this year's Summer Games Fest. And you know what, this doesn't look great, but if it was like the 10th one I had seen over the last few days, which last year it probably would have been, then it would be in bad tier. What in the... Look, I have no words for what I'm looking at right now. Let's just go into the next game. Okay, this is much better because the last game looked so goddamn awful, and this is a palate cleanser. Consider my palate cleansed. To finish off the Southeast Asian showcase, we got a look at the new No Straight Roads game, and yeah, it looks great. I hope the music in this one is as good as it was in the first game. And that was the end of that showcase, and I'm feeling a solid C+ for the Southeast Asian games. It was one of the shortest showcases of the bunch, and that No Straight Roads sequel just kind of bumped that grade up a little bit. Still, some questionable quality games around, but the show was short, the presentation was mostly unobtrusive, but at the same time it wasn't really memorable. Moving on, we have one final showcase, and that is the PC Gaming Show. Lucky last. This showcase is always such a mixed bag. It's been going on for over a decade now, and it's not a showcase that I would ever describe as good. But it's consistent. The quality of games usually varies from Game of the Year to cancelled before it's released in quick succession, and I kind of love it for that. So let's jump in. We got a pre-show that is going to be delivering some looks at hardware. Okay. Yeah, this was all skippable. I have no idea why they thought talking about OLED monitors and DLSS was a good idea. I don't think even the people running the show cared because subtitle text here, yeah, these segments, they sucked major ass. Okay, a game. Whiskerwood, a colony management sim with mice. I actually liked the look of this one. It's cute. It doesn't hurt that the main antagonist seems to be cats, so that's a plus for me. Okay, so this next game looks like it's one of those cleanup simulator games, but on an alien world with hostile fungus brain plants. Idea, cool. Gameplay, rough. Alrighty, I had to re-record the entire PC Game Showcase segment because my voice gave out. I didn't realize until I was listening back, and I was like, oh god. So this is the kind of game you should start your show off with. A robo-western bandit FPS is something that I think we can all just get behind. Far Far West looks pretty sweet. Ugh, Peter Stormare jump scare. This is not a game that interests me in the slightest. Who is excited for this? Really? When you see pre-rendered trailers like this, it's always fun to guess what kind of game it is going to actually be when gameplay is shown. You know what, it doesn't look great, but at least it's an action game. This really could have been anything. Wait, is this? Ah, no, not again. Ah, some peace and quiet. No gameplay, no hype, but damn, the animation and atmosphere are top notch. The name of this game? Moomin Troll? I don't know what that means, but sure. Den of Wolves. Yeah, this is exactly what I thought it was going to be. A futuristic heist-based FPS made by some of the original Payday developers, including, and most importantly, Simon Viklund, the guy who did the soundtrack. This looks great. See what I mean about the PC Gaming Show? You get Den of Wolves, which looks amazing, and then we get All Systems Dance, which looks like this. Engine Fall. I should have known we hadn't seen the last of quote-unquote real players totally playing this game in a real way. Despite that, I'm still kind of intrigued by this game. Dawn Apart is an automation game with an interesting art style. I think it probably would have been better if they didn't have the trees moving, because look at this, looks so weird, man. Whose idea was it to do back-to-back automation games? These games feel like they are made for a certain type of person, and that type of person is not me. Generation Exile is a game about rebuilding civilization to not repeat the mistakes of the past of ruining the planet, but the game also teases some more interesting plot beats that really got me on board with this one. The Alters. I've been talking about this game for what, 3 years, maybe more now? The wait is almost over. No, I'm Not a Human is a game that I've previewed before in previous year's showcases. It's got a demo out now, so if disturbing analog horror is your thing, this game is probably up your alley. Botsu, a wobbly physics party game. I really do want to give this one a shot. It looks like a hell of a lot of fun. Forever. The combat in this game didn't look great and the maps looked a little empty, but I did kind of vibe with this anyway. It just looks like a good co-op adventure game. The thing it really needs to be is the right price. Pizza Bandit. No gameplay, no hype. Not that this trailer really generated any hype anyway. The Last Caretaker. I talked about this one not too long ago as well. We saw even less gameplay this time around, but the premise and the story of the game is executed much better in this trailer than it was before. That is the ugliest fucking train I have seen in my life. I'm flipping a coin for Railborn. I don't know if it's going to be good or not. Have I gone blind? I can't see what's happening. What's going on? Help. I can see again. Wait, you know what? I think I want to go back. What is the motivation to making a game look like this? Pigface, a first-person shooter with a little DNA of I'm Your Beast, but the graphics of an early Resident Evil game. Good work, gameplay isn't doing it for me, although there is a demo. Oh hey, another Survivors clone, but this time it's a game where you create a death machine truck that's very customizable. Not gonna lie, I kind of did really like the look of this one. Oh hey, this is the early access survival game made by the people who did Bulletstorm, and it still looks like all of the other early access survival games. Seriously, where's the hook for this? Millet Signer is a game I've been keeping an eye on. It's a game about living in a town watched over by like a needy giant with the goal of trying to escape, or maybe trying to romance him and feed him. I don't know. It's really weird, but I like the look of it. Dispatch, I'm excited for this one too. Ooh, there's a demo. I hope it doesn't go away before I finish this video. Also, there are way too many demos. There's no way I'm keeping up with all of them. I played Wheel World in last Steam Next Fest and I really enjoyed it once I got it running at a stable frame rate. This one's already on the wish list. FBC Firebreak is only like a week away and this game looks wild and I'm excited for another good PvE multiplayer game. Well, I hope it's good. It looks good, but you know, 40-something% prediction rate, you know. The developers made a promise here on the PC Game Showcase that there is no FOMO, nothing is time-gated, supposedly, so it'll be interesting to look back in a year and see if that promise is kept. Morbid Metal looks pretty sweet, but it also looks like the kind of game I could only play for about an hour at a time. So what if VVVV was a psychological horror game? You'd get Love Eternal, I guess. Busbound. I don't know why I'm talking about this. I couldn't think of a job that I would want to do less than being a bus driver. Buses are an F-tier mode of transport. Prove me wrong. Oh, yep, I lost my vision again. So many particles. What's going on? Voidbreaker. I think I have talked about this before, but at least when I can see what's going on in this trailer, it does look really good. Grave Seasons is a game that I skipped somewhere before, but this trailer finally made it stand out. A farming sim game with a murder mystery and monsters. I kind of like the look of it. Clover Pit is another game I did look at a little while ago. Balatro slots with a bit of Buckshot Roulette's atmosphere to garnish. I think I'd have to play it to make a decision, so we're just going to go mid for now. Eugenics finally has a release date. It has been a long-ass time since this game has been announced to when it's finally coming. Dead Reset is an interactive movie and it does look somewhat decent. A bit worried about the time loop element because 12 minutes, but the camera work in this is far better than what I thought something like this would have, so why not? So who walks with their hands out in front of them like this all the time? Burn Band is a purely exploration game where you explore a sci-fi alien city. Yeah, okay, I don't see why not. PC Gaming Showcase is ending off with another Death Machine Vampire Survivors clone. Yay. Pretty much sums up this entire showcase, right? That was certainly on brand for the PC gaming show. Actually, I do think the games they showed this year were miles ahead of last year, but again, the PC gaming show was the longest showcase out of the whole Summer Games Fest, sitting at 2 hours and 25 minutes, counting the pre-show, which is so long. The showcase dedicated a significant amount of time to just building a PC rig, which just felt like an extended advertisement for the stuff that they were putting into the PC, which if cut could have made the PC gaming showcase actually tolerable for once. But that isn't how they roll. I am feeling a C- for the showcase. Most of the negatives comes from the presentation itself, not the games. Although there were some dud games in there. Okay, so that is all of the showcases done and dusted. Here are all of the showcases and their grades. Xbox took out top slot for me this year. They had the best presentation and a lot of good games to show off. The worst showcase of the whole Summer Games Fest, of course, goes to Green Games, which was the first ever showcase. I turned off and refused to watch the whole thing. So yeah, thanks for that, you fucking wankers. Now, it is time for my Best in Show, where I highlight the games that I think were the best of the best out of the entire Summer Games Fest event. So let's get started with...
running through our veins.
Lumines Arise. So this was pretty close to not making my Best in Show slot, and it almost missed out because I didn't really know what the game was. But then I looked it up and I realized Lumines was an actual classic puzzle game that I have played before, but I barely remember. Anyway, I probably would have preferred Tetris, but you know, I'm a fan of Tetris Effect Connected because of the game's visuals and the music. And really, what is selling me on Lumines Arise is the music and the visuals, which is what I wanted. So I'm thinking that this is going to be very good. So yeah, I'm giving it a slot in Best in Show.
We're prepped and ready for the heist. We had stolen Tier 7 passkeys. Acquired the building schematics. Every variable accounted for, but we fucked it up anyway. Next time, we gotta be even more prepared.
Den of Wolves. Music was probably 9/10 of what got me over the line here. The Payday 2 soundtrack is one of my favorite soundtracks of all time. I'm just interested in playing another heist game with a Simon Viklund soundtrack. Yeah, I guess the game looks pretty sick too. Really, the game just needs to be on par or better than Payday 2, especially because Payday 3 shut the bed so hard. And look, Den of Wolves, it looks good. It looks really good. Fading Echo. Yeah, the Slime Girl game. There was just something about the gameplay mechanics shown in the trailer that really spoke to me, and also I think this was generally one of the best edited trailers of the entire Summer Games Fest. It just kind of spoke to me. But yeah, the gameplay mechanics, the elemental effects weaving in with puzzles and gameplay, it feels a little bit Dungeons of Hinterberg-y, but a little more arcadey and action heavy. Super Meat Boy 3D. As I said earlier, this looks like the sequel to Super Meat Boy that we've been asking for. My initial thought going in was maybe the jump to 3D could kill the spirit of the game, but it looks completely intact based on the gameplay. I am really looking forward to this. Super Meat Boy is one of my all-time favorite indie games, so it's not a surprise that I'm looking forward to a sequel. Sometimes the best way to stand out is to not try to stand out. The trailer for LEGO Voyages was very subdued and chill. It builds this picture of a low-stakes co-op adventure that is exactly the game that I want to play. By the way, this is a Friends Pass game, so only one person needs to own a copy for 2 people to be able to play it, which is currently one of my favourite trends with co-op games.
You gotta keep them separated.
Grounded 2. If you ask me what I think about Grounded 1, I will tell you that it is my favourite survival crafting game of all time, hands down. The sequel looks to be bigger and better, and I'm so ready for it. This is, of course, launching into Game Preview, which is another fancy word for early access. Look, they did early access fine the first time around. It's probably just going to be me and my friends playing it when it comes out, and then again when it hits 1.0.
Hello.
Hello.
We're House. You might know us because of our Goose Game. And we're here today to show you around our new game. Ooh. It's a cooperative multiplayer adventure made for friends to play together. It's called Big Walk.
Big Walk. Yeah, so this is the third co-op game in a row, I know, but gaming is just more fun with friends. And each of the 3 co-op games that I've shown here have all taken a different approach. This one being a game that invites you to go on a big walk. I love games that play with proximity chat and invite you to leave the comforts of Discord to engage with gameplay mechanics in a fun way. Look, the entire Summer Games Fest had a lot more co-op games than last year, and it is a genre of video games I want to see more of. More than I want to see like Vampire Survivor clones or Survival Crafting clones. It just sucks that you kind of need to have friends to play them with. Best games that you can play. Stranger Than Heaven. Yeah, look, RGG Studios don't miss. I don't have much else to say. Ever since Yakuza 6, maybe before, I don't think that these guys have released a bad game. Everything they touch seems to be gold, and I have no doubt that this one will be too. I'm intrigued on why they are stepping away from the Like a Dragon series to make something that still seems to be very Like a Dragon coded in its gameplay and its tone. Or maybe they really are just going to go full serious with this one and drop the goofiness of the Like a Dragon series.
The glittering streets of Avalon sure do shine, because they swoop their filth down to us.
Get your paper in! Who's for a paper?
Here's to playing in the mud. Breaking in is the easy part.
Your brandy, sir.
Getting away with it is the real trick.
Clockwork Revolution is my last best in show. This game is something that got me from 0 to 100 pretty quickly. Yeah, I want to play this. I don't even think that it's my type of game, but I can't help it. I really just got swept off my feet. I'm pretty sure the trailer for this game was probably about 3 or 4 minutes long, and the longer it went on, the more sold I was. I never got sick of seeing more of this game. It looks so much fun.
Welcome to England, Mr. David. I know this must be a shock, having never met your real father, but he left you this hotel in his will. It's been in your family for generations, much like the caretaker. He's a little eccentric. You'll see.
Let me welcome you to the Grand, a hotel famous across the land.
You keep looking into things, and things are gonna start looking back. Don't make the same mistake your father made. In this place, the only one you can really trust is me.
The need to know more segment it's kind of self-explanatory. I just kind of want to know more about the game before I give it like my full blessings. They're usually for games that look great, but I just cannot bring myself to fully recommend them. Or if I recommend them, it's kind of hesitant. Ghosts of the Grand is another game that almost made my best in show, but didn't because the quote-unquote gameplay of the game is kind of like gameplay without a UI shown, which I think is aimed to either make the gameplay look less linear than it is. That being said, I don't mind. The story and the musical elements were what was pushing this game forward.
My old man always said to me, he told me to get a ship. Then it hit me all so clear. No old man just got a ship.
Sea Remnants, or Pirate Persona, is a game that I am immensely intrigued in, and it's probably going to be good, but I just thought it was strange to me that the trailer seemed to want to focus on everything but the turn-based combat element of the game, which, to be honest, probably might be a smaller part of the game than I'm thinking it's going to be. The thing is, I don't know, and that's why it's in the need to know more segment.
Bond is a bullet without a target. Let's give him one. We're facing a situation of the utmost delicacy. I need all my pieces on the board.
009 is a master manipulator. Whatever the endgame is, we won't see it coming.
Jet lag.
.007 First Light. I am not sold on this game yet. Granted, I probably could have gone and watched the IOI Direct and found out more, but considering how many times this game showed up in other showcases and didn't seem to show off enough to completely sell me on the game is making me feel a bit weird. And look, I was pretty showcased out by the end of this experience. I wasn't going to watch another one to try and get the full picture on this game.
We found another body. One that exhibits the same pathology as the others we've been investigating. The Renwood Hotel.
Investigating all these strange deaths, huh?
We need to keep our voices down.
Have you seen the same shit I've seen?
Please know that you are my hope.
Everyone's gone.
Resident Evil 9. Yeah, this is no gameplay, no hype talking, but what a fantastic trailer. Not an inkling of gameplay, so yeah, it has to go here. Summer Games Fest knew what they were doing by ending their show this year on this game because yeah, the trailer was an absolute banger. Atomic Heart 2 is the last of our Need to Know More. I could not show a trailer for this one due to copyright reasons. It's impossible to edit around. Queens, don't stop me now. Yeah, so look, the first game is not what I would call a great game, but this trailer was enough for me to forget that the first one existed and now got me hyped for the second one somehow. This also extends to The Cube, which I don't know what it is, but for some reason I want to play it. Ratatan. I don't remember putting this here. Was this meant to go in my Western show? No, wait. That slot was held for like one thing and one thing only. Okay, maybe it's because the music has like wormed its way into my brain like a parasite, but this actually does look like something I might actually play. Or it will cause me permanent psychological damage. I want to know what kind of human being created a game like this, gave it a soundtrack like this. I need to know the who, the what, the whens, the wheres, and the whys of Ratatan. Before I move on to Worst in Show, I did want to shout out some other games that were so close to making these lists. Games like Silent Hill F looked really cool, FBC Firebreak, Outer Worlds 2, Crysoul looked super gnarly. Look, pretty much anything on the screen right here, right now, that took our Best in Show from the individual showcases. I'm chucking on the screen here. You'll probably have to pause to look at them. Look, there are a lot of good games. I think the common sentiment coming out of the Summer Games Fest as a whole is that there weren't a lot of, huge games, big fucking jaw-dropping reveals. But the spread of video games I felt this year looked good. Alright, so moving on to Worst in Show. Yeah, last year I did a Worst in Show to point out all of the bad shit that I saw, and I'm gonna be real with you. This year was actually just in general a major improvement in games, as I said before. There were barely any huge stinkers, and none of them were really worth singling out this year. But I'm going to be singling out one showcase, which was, of course, the Green Showcase, which probably did more damage than good to the environment simply by existing. Did anyone watching this start recycling because of the positive messages from this showcase? I doubt it. If anything, I want to start a fire pit dedicated exclusively to burning plastic and rubber in my backyard out of spite. Yeah, my Worst in Show goes to the Green Showcase. Just the whole fucking thing. I feel sorry for any developer who may have gotten duped into showing their game here. I just hope I never see it again. If you are looking for games that spread positive social messages and messages about climate change, I guess, check out the Wholesome Direct Showcase, which absolutely blitzed this showcase with all of those things without even trying. Okay, now that is everything, I think. Wow, what a ride that was. Summer Games Fest 2025 is over, at least for me now anyways. I'm done talking about games, I think I'm ready to start playing them. And lucky me, there is an absolute horde of demos that just hit the Steam store. And a bunch of games I talked shit about, ready to prove me wrong. So if you have made it this far, thank you so much for watching this far. This was a lot of fun. Again, every Summer Games Fest is a lot of fun. So if you are still here, then please consider leaving the video a like and subscribing if you're new. Let me know which game was your favorite from the whole event, or let me know why I was wrong about your favorite game I said was shit. Or did I miss a game? Did I skip over something that you thought looked really good? Let me know in the comments. As always, thank you so much to my YouTube members, Controlled Killer, Yellow, Melodia, and Jingles. Your continued support is much appreciated. If you're looking for other ways to engage, I also have a community Discord server which is free to enter, where you can suggest videos and chat with me. I also have a Steam curator page if you're interested in diving into some more of my video game takes that may or may not make it into a full video. Links to everything in the description of the video. Thank you again for watching, and I will see you all next time.